Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and if you are brand new here, welcome. I'm Bonnie, Old Soul Mermaid, and today I decided that we were going to take a look at a portion of my collection, my U.S.Games decks. So we are going to show those decks some love today, and this might be a video that you might want to watch when you have some time. Grab a cup of tea or coffee or beverage of choice, because I have more than I thought I did. So I'll try to go through them, in an expeditious manner, but I've amassed quite a few. And I was kind of inspired by this video by Michelle at Boho Tarot, because she recently did a couple of videos about her acquiring some classic U.S.Games decks. And also she did a video of her working with them and what her experience was like. Decks that, are popular, classic decks that she did not have until recently. So those were U.S.Games decks. I have all but one of those in my collection, I think. So let's get to it. So the first, and I'm picking these in no particular order. So the first one, the nearest one to me, is The Influence of Angels by Jody Baginski Barbesi. Try to say that quickly. But this is a U.S.Games mass market deck. You can get it off of Amazon or probably wherever books are sold. Nice, really nice two-piece box. And it has thumb cutouts. I do have a full unboxing of this deck on my channel, and I will maybe link it below. But this, it comes with a guidebook and then some kind of flashcards, kind of going over the numerology of the minors. But the backs are beautiful, and it does come with gilding, and I believe this deck was just under $20. But if you see, this is an artwork deck. Very, very beautiful. Kind of Renaissance art. And kind of based on paintings, existing artwork, but then, there's digital collage in there for the suits, so you can get their meaning. And I haven't worked with this deck as much as I have another one I'm going to show you in the collection, because they're kind of the same thing. And I was not really certain I was going to get this deck because I'm kind of, I don't really know what my relationship is with angels. If you don't know, I'm coming from a conservative Christian background, and though I like the thought of a guardian angel, I don't know really where my stance is with them. But I do love the artwork in this deck. I've worked with it a little bit, but not as in depth as I would like, because I got another deck that I totally am into, and it's kind of along the same vein. So I will show you that one next. So this was The Influence of Angels. Nice chunky book. And this is a mass market deck. So the reason why I haven't worked with this one as much, even though I do love it, is because I got this one, the Touchstone Tarot. It's in a beautiful, beautiful box, cat black. She's also done, is it the Golden Tarot, which I do not have yet. But beautiful, beautiful box. I have a full unboxing on my channel of this deck. And this is the mass market version of an indie deck by Cat Black. So this is the mass market version, also has gold, beautiful gold edging. And I love, love, love this deck. And this is the one I reach for over The Influence of Angels, because I've told you I haven't figured out my stance with angel energy. But I love, love, love that I can recognize some of these historical figures in here. Like that's Henry VIII's fourth wife, Anne of Cleves, who he annulled. So she has the Ten of Wands. And I love how these, the people in the deck are looking at you or kind of off to the side, but it's a very up close and personal kind of experience with this deck. And I was turned on to this deck by Sunset Bao on her tarot channel, and she loves this deck. She's got the indie and the mass market, and she has a wonderful comparison. If I remember, I will link that below. But I love the forward-facingness of the people in this deck. Like this is King Henry VIII's daughter, Mary, known also as Bloody Mary. But this totally fits her as the Queen of Swords. And I reach for this deck before I reach for my Influence of Angels deck. So this is the Touchstone Tarot by Cat Black. It's a U.S.Games mass market deck. It's a little on the pricier side though. I think it's over $25. Okay, so moving right along, the next one in a two-piece box. I love these two-piece boxes by U.S.Games. It is the very well-known Crow Tarot by M.J. Kulanane. I know I'm mispronouncing that, but this is a mass market U.S. deck. I love, love, love this deck. The cardstock is fantastic. Now, those other two decks, I neglected to say that they're a glossy finish, but they're not that heavy, sticky gloss to where they stick together. This has got an indie feel. Now, I believe this deck came out as an indie deck originally. But this is a deck, I haven't used it yet, but I like to use. I consider it a fall deck. But you can use it at any time of the year, of course. But the cardstock is so sumptuous. The images are so beautiful and well done, just with the crow. And I think of my animal decks, and I don't have many, but this is the one I reach for the most, I would have to say. So I won't dwell too much on this one because it is a well-known deck. It's been out for a while. But I think even a beginner could read with this. Once you've had a little bit of introduction with maybe a traditional Pixies art, RWS, or I think you could read with this deck very easily. And those are the backs. I just can't tell you how much I love the cardstock. Really, it gets top marks for cardstock, I would have to say. Very well executed. Okay, moving right along. Two-piece box again. And it is the Spirit Song Tarot by Paulina Cassidy. I love, love, love this deck. And this is another animal deck. Those are the gorgeous backs. Again, this cardstock, I would say it's not as sumptuous as the Crow Tarot, but it is very, very good. And this is a minimalistic color palette. It's very muted tones, whereas, you know, the Crow Tarot is very bright, and I love this Hermit. But it is an animal deck that I reach for and I love. I'm a Paulina Cassidy fan. I know not everybody can deal with her art because there's a lot to it. And if you have problems with eyesight, I do, my eyes aren't the best, but I find that I'm still able to work with her artwork. and I really, really enjoy this deck. I love sea turtles. Oh, it really is a beautiful, beautiful nature deck. And, you know, I've been kind of toying about getting the oak, ash, and thorn, but I don't know if I would. I really love this deck, and I don't know if the oak, ash, and thorn would get used. I might tend to reach for this one over that. I don't know. We will see. Because I really, really love the color palette, and I love the artwork. That is the Spirit Song, and the box is just lovely. Great production by U.S.Games. And that is the Spirit Song Tarot. Okay, moving right along. This one is a little bit of a unique deck. It's the Phantasmagoric Theater Tarot. And it's by Graham Cameron. It's a larger deck. As you can see, it's like oracle size. And it is a very whimsical deck. Now, I do have a full unboxing of this deck on my channel. It is unique, and there's nothing really like it. And I know there is a French version of this deck as well. But these are quite large, as you can see. Kind of reminds me a little bit, if you remember the Rugrats cartoon. I don't know why it reminds me of that, but kind of a little bit of Tim Burton and Rugrats animation had a baby. I don't know. This reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas here. The professor, you know, up in his tower, and in here kind of a little bit. Maybe, and this reminds me of Rugrat, you know, Tommy Pickles. I know that because my kids grew up on the Rugrats. But this is a very, very unique deck, and this is the only kind of deck, the only kind of artwork. See, this looks like a Jack Skellington. And this deck was done well before Nightmare Before Christmas. No, it was done afterwards. 1999. But as you can see, it is unique. The cardstock is very, very good. Very, very good. But you see, it's kind of its own thing. And I really like the whimsical, tongue-in-cheek nature of this deck. Okay. So like I said, I do have a full unboxing of this deck on my channel. So we're going to move that aside and move to the next one. The next one, two-piece box. Yay! Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot Deck by Matt Hughes. And this, I believe, was originally a Kickstarter at one point. But when it was before I got into tarot. So this has, of course, it feels, and the production quality is very indie deck with the gold foil or stamping. These are the beautiful backs. This is a well-known deck. I'm sure everybody watching probably has this in their collection. Everybody and their mother, right? But I just find it beautiful, and I think he came out with an oracle, did he not? Or it's supposed to be coming out. I would love to have it, and I guess I should do more research about that. But then again, I heard there was a fiasco with between the Kickstarter campaign and then this coming out mass market. So maybe his oracle will come out mass market. We shall see. But I think this is beautiful, beautiful ethereal energy depictions. I love, 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 love this deck. If you are new and you are not really jiving with the traditional RWS with Pixies art, this is a wonderful clone to get. And you can get everything out of this deck, you know, when you're learning tarot, as you could with Pixies deck. And I just love the color palette. I find, you know, I would reach for this over the traditional RWS. Okay, so that's the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck by Matt Hughes. And we are moving on to the next deck, which would be the Dreaming Way Tarot by Romy Choi. Now, this is a deck. It's quite unique in its artwork. I would say, no, it's escaping me right now. Who is the author of... There's another deck that has this kind of artwork or something similar, and I can't remember it. It's in my collection. I'm having a brain freeze right now. But, and these are the backs. I love these backs. Again, it's a great RWS clone. If you are not if the RWS Pixies art does not resonate with you, this deck might. Cardstock reminds me a lot of the Spirit Song Tarot that we just saw. Very whimsical artwork. You know, you see the funny shoes. I've heard some people comment that they don't like the wardrobe, the fashion choices in here, but that's what I love about it. Do you see this Nine of Cups? I love the figures depicted in here. I love this Two of Swords. A little bit more modern, but, you know, not really medieval figures, but they're kind of in their own time, in their own world. I love this Page of Wands. This Hierophant I can deal with. Three of Swords. I like this depiction of the Three of Swords. So I think this is an underrated deck, in my opinion. But, you know, we all have our opinions on what we like with humanoid or human figures. But I really, and look at this, the detail on his face. Really, love it. And it's a unique world card. It's a very unique. May not resonate with everybody, but it does with me. And the Lovers, 3. Looks like 2. And then you've got the Angel in the middle, just like the RWS, but it's, the Angel is more of a companion and helper, I think. So this is a great deck. Can't say enough good things about this deck. Okay, moving right along, we are going to move to the newest U.S.Games deck in my collection. This is the Antiquarian Tarot by David Palladini. Classic deck from the 70s or 80s. And I have to say, Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot made me get this. Watching her video, and I will link her videos below, with working with these classic U.S.Games decks. Do I need to get down a little bit lower, maybe? I have been wanting this deck for a long time. What I like about this deck is that it is an RWS clone, but a lot of the cards are up close and personal. These quartz, kind of like the Morgan Greer, which we will see. But I love this 70s type Art Deco, you know, 70s version of Art Deco. Two of the suits have colored backgrounds. The other two suits, you know, there's a lot of white space, which a lot of people don't like, but I don't mind at all. So the suit of swords has a kind of magenta pink background, and the suit of pentacles has this very light blue. The rest of the cards are, you know, pretty white spaced. Yeah, and definitely the other two suits. The thing I like is the flower for the rods that's growing and sprouting out of the wand. And I do like the up close. And this is a beautiful Ace of Swords. So again, and this is the backs, the very cool classic backs. Now, if RWS isn't your cup of tea, try this deck. She's kind of a badass temperance card. Yeah, I just literally got this a couple of days ago, so I haven't really worked with it, but I have been shuffling it and handling it in my hands, and I'm eager to work with this classic deck. Cardstock is phenomenal. Now, U.S.Games does a really good job with their cardstock. They have different types of cardstock, and this is along the lines of the Morgan Greer and some other decks that I'm going to show you. I love this cardstock. It's a little bit laminated. I don't want to say waxy. It's laminated, but not sticky or, you know, glossy. It's a little bit satiny, maybe you could say. I don't know. If you have a term for it and you have this deck or the Morgan Greer, let me know if you know a specific technical term for what this cardstock is. But it's easy to shuffle. If you're a riffle shuffler, you will really love the cardstock in this deck. And I would recommend for a beginner. Okay, next. Let's see, where are we? Oh my goodness. Another one that Dawn Michelle worked with, that she obtained, a classic deck, was the Hanson Roberts Tarot by Mary Hanson Roberts. This is another classic deck, I don't know, 70s, 80s. It's a smaller deck. It's more poker size, bridge size. Might have to get in a little bit closer because it is smaller. But can you see that? I wish they would have put this in a tin. Same cardstock as the Antiquarian Tarot that I just showed you, which I love. Love, love, love. But this is an iconic deck. Love the backs. Love them. Some people don't like the different languages and the scroll. I find it adds to its charm. It's what makes this deck iconic and unique. I like how the play with proportions kind of reminds me of the Anna Kay Tarot, you know, with the play of proportions of the bodies. But I like the expressiveness of the faces in this deck. You see that? Again, I love the close-up and how these cards in the quartz, they're just looking at you. I really like it. I feel it's like they're calling you out. They're talking just to you. I love this Eight of Swords. There's a lot of great energy in this deck. And look at this Five of Pentacles. Look at their faces. The High Priestess, gorgeous. So this is another great classic deck, and I've had this for a while. I love working with it, and sometimes it's just nice to have a smaller deck in your hand, especially if you have small hands like I do. Okay, moving right along, U.S.Games deck, the Celestial Tarot. This is a very unique deck, and if I could get it open, I can show you why. Little white book. I would say this is a little, the cards are a little more narrow than like the Antiquarian Tarot, as you can see. And this one, the Celestial Tarot, is a little bit taller, as you can see, just ever so much. See? So it's a little more slender of a deck, a little bit taller. Ties in tarot and astrology. Same cardstock as the Antiquarian, the Hanson Roberts, which I love. To be sure, and to be honest, I haven't used this deck in depth because I'm waiting to get my astrology on. 2021, I vow, is going to be my year of studying astrology in conjunction with tarot, but learning how to tie the astrology into the tarot. So that is why I got this deck. I have had it for a while, but there always seems I'm still studying the tarot. So 2021, you will hear it right now, is astrology, and actually I'm going to delve into Marseille. I do have a couple of Marseille decks that I'm going to work with. But you can see it's a little bit different. And I would say it wouldn't be a great beginner deck to use if you're just getting into tarot. But I love this cardstock. I love the artwork, and I can't wait to work with it in the way that I want to work with it. So that is the Celestial Tarot, and it's by Kay Stevenson and Brian Clark, if I did not mention. And did I show you the backs? These are the backs. Great backs. Next one, we are going to go into, I've got decks all around me, you guys. This is the Paulina Tarot by Paulina Cassidy. I'm going to zoom up just a little bit. We just saw her Spirit Song Tarot, her animal deck. And like I said, a lot of people, and look at the backs of these. Beautiful, just like the Spirit Song. I love her muted backs. They are so beautiful. This cardstock is like her Spirit Song. It's really, really nice, you guys. I would still say my favorite is those of the like Antiquarian Tarot, the Hanson Roberts, the Celestial Tarot, but this is quite nice. People have a hard time sometimes resonating with her art just because it is on the busy side, if you can see that. There is a lot to it. And if you have problematic eyes, older eyes, you could have a hard time with this deck. But my eyes are old. I need glasses actually now to read my tarot cards. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. Anyway, so I don't have, I love this death card. See the faces in the trees. There's a lot to this, and that's why people have a hard time with it. Some people preferred more minimalistic, stripped down, not a lot of foo-foo. I like both. I really do like both. This has been out for a while. I would say probably not a good deck for a beginner. Absolutely not a good deck for a beginner to start with. You could definitely get it to get lost in the images. This would be a great intermediate deck. But that is the Paulina Tarot by Paulina Cassidy. And while we're on Paulina Cassidy, why don't we go to her Joie de Vivre Tarot? Again, it's along the same lines, except these figures are even more whimsical than the ones in her Paulina. These backs are quite bright. Kind of a nice change from her other two decks that had the muted backs. But you see the color palette is very similar to the Paulina, but we've got these more whimsical creatures. Now, this cardstock differs from the Paulina. The Joie de Vivre feels more like the Hanson Roberts, the Antiquarian Tarot, Celestial Tarot. That's what this cardstock is like. This is a little more papery, but it's nice. So these have got, you can see the color palette is very similar to the Paulina, but these are more whimsical creatures and depictions, even more so, you know, with the anamorphic, you know, half human, half creature, fae type creatures. And I love this Ten of Swords. Love it. And you can see, again, there's a lot to this artwork. I might do a side-by-side of these someday. I know these two decks are not new, and most of you are familiar with them, but for anybody who's new to my channel. So everything that I'm showing you so far is mass market and easily available on Amazon or your local bookstore. So that is the Joie de Vivre Tarot by Paulina Cassidy. So I've been mentioning the Morgan Greer, and here it is. And this deck, one of my all-time favorites. I've got decks all over the place. And it is because of the colors, the bright colors. The cardstock is so wonderful. Love these iconic backs. I love this deck. And I got this deck soon after I got the RWS, and I started reading with this just because it resonated with me more. I don't know if it was the color scheme, some of how the figures were closer up, but something about this deck just resonated way more with me than the RWS, than with Pixie's art. I do love Pixie's art, but see, the fact that the figures are a little closer, this, you know, one of my favorite decks is the Anna K Tarot, and to me, the Anna K Tarot is like the love child of this deck and the Hanson Roberts that I just showed you a couple decks back. So this is the Morgan Greer. It's a classic deck. I totally resonate with this deck, and I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, we'll show both of these. I have the Rider-Waite-Smith, the traditional yucky yellow, and also the borderless edition. And you are familiar with both of those, so I'm just showing you because I have them in my collection. This video is getting long, and I have a few more decks to show you, but you all know these decks. I use them for study purposes, and I don't bring them out. I don't really read with them for myself or for other people. I have brought it out. I can think of a couple of times to read for males, but I don't, like for myself, I don't really read, and I use them for study purposes. But I am glad that I have them in my collection. So those are the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith decks. Have to show you. They're in my collection. They're by U.S.Games. Okay, now we're going to go into Oracle by U.S.Games. Oracle of Mystical Moments by Katrine Veldt-Stein, a very favorite, popular deck of many. The tarot deck is coming out soon, though the release date has been pushed back. I was supposed to get it last week, and then they said, nope, it's not coming. We'll send you a notification when we have a date. Has that happened to you? Did you have the tarot deck on pre-order and then did not get the deck? That was me. So I'm going to love to do maybe a side-by-side, but I have a picture. I have the full canvas painting of this deck out. It's above my husband's work computer out in my living room. And I love her art. And it's funny how this card's on top. But I view this as me, water energy, and this is my husband, air. He's a Libra, I'm a Pisces. So I love this deck because of this card. Well, I love it because of all the cards, but this has a personal significance for me. And look at that. Look at those beautiful backs. But this is a well-known, well-loved deck. Her art is amazing. I can't wait to get the tarot deck. This is one of my favorite Oracle decks, and you know what deck? I love to use this with the Dream Keepers Tarot by Liz Houston. I use them in tandem, and they're both collage art decks, and they work very, very well together. Dream Keepers Tarot in mass market is another deck I pre-ordered. I have the indie version. Got the same thing happened. It was due to come out in November. Date got pushed back. And it says, you know, we'll email you, we'll notify you when it's ready to ship. Don't know what's going on. I imagine maybe it's printing, has to do with production, maybe in China. I don't know. But this is a well-loved deck, whimsical, ethereal. This just takes you to another place. And I love decks like this. I really, really do. And I can't wait to get the tarot. So that is the Oracle of Mystical Moments by Katrine Veldt-Stein. Another beautiful, beautiful Oracle deck by U.S.Games. The Vintage Wisdom Oracle by Victoria Mosley. Another one that's well-known, well-loved by many. People have, I know, have cut off the borders, and I think I've got some of these all mixed up going every which way. Typical. I know, yeah, people have cut this down, cut the borders off to make it smaller. I don't trust myself. These are the gorgeous backs. I keep my decks, I won't cut them. I have edged a few of them, but I draw the line at cutting them, you know, trimming them. I don't trust myself. I don't even have a paper trimmer, and I just know, you know, I cut fabric, I sew, and even my cutting isn't precise with scissors. I know to get a more precise cut, I use a rotary cutter for my fabric, and that I do better with that. But anyway, this, I love vintage art decks. I think that's a Waterhouse painting. This is definitely, yeah, it's Waterhouse. Just so gorgeous and beautiful, and takes you to another place. I just wonder about some of these people. And this mermaid. Oh, Waterhouse again, I believe. Just beautiful. Takes you someplace else. These look beautiful on an altar. So beautiful. Well-loved deck by many. I know it's been out for a while, and it is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. I would highly recommend. They are quite large, but I wouldn't trim them because, like I said, they are beautiful to sit on an altar. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, just down to 2 more decks very quickly. Oh, if you're still with me, God bless you. This is the Dreaming Way Lenormand by, artwork is by Quan Sheena, written by Lynn Aryuho. I'm sorry, I'm, very much butchering that. But it's a little Lenormand deck, and look how cute in a 2-piece box with these very, very cute backs. And this one I actually have in order, I think. No, I don't. The rider, the clover, the ship. Again, whimsical art, pretty colors. I love the coffee cup with clouds. This snake. I love how the coffin is like a sardine can. Bouquet. Scythe. Just a great little Lenormand deck that won't break the bank. Some of the indie Lenormand decks, you pay $35, $40 for them. This one is, I think, under 20, at least when I got it. But it's a great little Lenormand deck. Look at this dog. Just love it. Love it, love it. And that is the Dreaming Way Lenormand. Down to the last deck, guys. Oh my gosh. And it is another Lenormand deck. Now, if you are getting any value or you're having fun watching this, just relaxing and watching this video, please hit a like and a subscribe or comment below and let me know your opinions on any of these decks. If you have them, what is your favorite that you've seen so far? All right. Next one is the Celtic Lenormand by artwork by Will Worthington, who's done the Druid Craft and the Wildwood Tarots, and it's written by Chloe McCracken. This Lenormand, it's really nice because it comes in a 2-piece box. I'm running out of room here, you guys, so this is a great deck because it comes with so many extra cards that you can choose from. So I have those put aside, and I have the ones that I'm using in here. These are the backs. Nice cardstock. Very pagan. I would say these are a little bit thinner than the Dreaming Way Lenormand, but I could be wrong. I could just be imagining it. But what's great about this deck is the wonderful, wonderful, chunky little book with great content in here for a Lenormand deck. Usually you just get a little pamphlet, but you really need, something more. And this deck is great value for it. I think you can get it for $17, $18. Great value because of the quality of the cardstock, the illustrations, and, a reference book. If you are new to Lenormand, you get it all in one kit instead of just buying a Lenormand book, just with a little pamphlet, and then you're having to buy a separate Lenormand book, like maybe one by Ronna George. But this is a great value. And the fact that it comes in a 2-piece box with extra cards. Look at all these extra cards. I mean, you get a ton of them. A ton of them. So you can choose which ones you want to use. Okay, well, that was a long, rambly video. But I thank you for sticking with me. As always, I appreciate any time you can spend with me, and your likes, your comments. Yeah, I love hanging out with you guys. And I will see you again really soon, and I will put in the cards maybe another video that you can watch if you so choose. So yeah, click on it and get some more tarot love. So with that, I will see you real soon. Bye for now.